Let's do this one. The poet Robert Frost once said that when you write a poem, there should be some element of discovery about the writing process. No surprise for the writer, he once said. No surprise for the reader. In the spirit of surprises and surprise endings, I should like to give you this poem that I wrote. This poem is called Lord Wentworth My Son. And before I do this poem, I want to just tell you a little bit of an anecdote. Once I was doing this poem at a festival somewhere else. When I was done with this poem, a man came up to me and he said, I really like that you modeled the poem after a Bob Dylan song. And I know what he was talking about, because Mr. Dylan had once, a long time ago, written a song called The Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, which he modeled after an old anonymous Scottish ballad called Lord Randall My Son, and that is this ballad that I modeled my own poem after. But in explaining this to that man, I realized that maybe what I'm trying to do with this show is similar, if I may be so bold, to what Mr. Dylan was trying to do with music. That is, in his case, he was turning to older forms of language and poetry to revitalize a dehydrated form of music. I'm trying to do the same thing with comedy. And that is the last time that I will put myself in this same stratosphere as Bob Dylan. But this poem is called Lord Wentworth My Son. And where hast thou been, Lord Wentworth my son? And where hast thou been, my virtuous one? Oh, father, I walked to the deepest of woods, and I saw what I saw, and I took what I could. And what did you see, Lord Wentworth my son? And what did you see, my curious one? A thistledown tree where the nightingale cried, and beneath it a stag with a wound in its side. And I met a fair maiden with skin pale and fine, and a bed of wild heather, and bound with a vine. I bound with the vine, so I drew forth my blade, and I cleaved well the vine till I freed the poor maid. And what did you do, Lord Wentworth, my son? And what did you do, my conquering one? Oh, father! I tore off her long purple robe, and I plunged through her bush with my cumbersome lobe, and I bent her down low, and I gave her a ride, and I glazed her with porridge all down her backside, and I threw her, this is so Bob Dylan, and I threw her bare legs way up to the sky, and we fisted and felched till my flesh pipe went dry. Yes, we diddled and doinked in various manners, and my love knob is sore, but her ass is much tanner. In every crevasse, and in every position, we bonked and we boinked in a way that's not Christian. I just heard that snort.
Oh, you have another chalk.
Did she take you in mouth, Lord Wentworth my son? Did she take you in mouth, my virtuous one? Alas, no she didn't, though I laid in her bed, for father I searched, but I ne'er found her head.